On our last video in Tim's shed, we looked at his CJ7 and went for drive. Great little machine. We're going to look at what else is in here, and there's a lot of stuff. We're going to cover over it pretty quick, maybe too quick for some, but I'll always be coming back. Some of it's stashed, especially in the other end of the shop. It's a little bit hard to see, but I'll give you a quick look. This is a well-known Jeep. Been to a lot of Jeep events, out in the hard trails, and we're going to get Tim to give us a quick rundown on it. Fire away, Timbo.
Well, this Jeep, I don't know if we can do a quick rundown, because unfortunately, to a Jeep enthusiast, it's probably not really a Jeep, but to me it's a Jeep because it's got a Jeep body, but that's about the only thing of a Jeep it's got.
Just get you through the door.
That's right. It's to be honest, it's my pride and joy, because I built it from scratch. I've had this Jeep since '91. This was originally just a Levi's 79 CJ7 quad track when I brought it. And to be honest, what's probably left of that car is not much. A windscreen and a grille. I think that's what's left of the original Jeep, unfortunately. Maybe a steering column, I think it's the same one. But it's full custom, you'd call it if you want to be fancy, but full bastardised if you really want to say I've wrecked a good Jeep. It's got a Range Rover chassis that's been cut in every shape and form you can imagine. It's got some Volvo portal axles. It's got a Range Rover transfer case, which is because it mounts up to a Jeep Auto. It's got a 727 torque flight that's mounted to a Chrysler 360, not an AMC, but a Chrysler one, which is stroke 408. It's stroked out. It's fun to drive. It can be a handful. It doesn't always handle the best. A lot of maintenance, but really I just love it. Yeah, so, and it's far from perfect. It does get stuck, and at the moment it's limping. We've managed to bust it at Cat Coughs last year. So yeah, I've got to do some work on the portal box in the rear. We managed to smash that. So yeah, so that's the CJ7. Yeah.
Can you control that dog?
Can I control a dog? Probably not.
Quick rundown on your engine in here.
Stroker crank. Edelbrock aftermarket aluminium heads. It's got an Edelbrock fuel injection tune port system on it. Roller rockers. I think if you're the cool guys, you'd call it a full bowl of fruit. It's got everything you can imagine. It's got the biggest alternator I could imagine to find. That's off a truck. And it's just really good in the fact that it produces like 160 amps at idle. Yeah, the motor's got a list a mile long on it. It's really too good a motor for what I have, because I'm not good at looking after stuff. I should look after it better, and it's really probably too much power at times. It gets you into a bit of strife, but it's fun to drive, I'll say that. And it does produce a bit of heat at times, so cooling sometimes becomes a little bit of an issue, especially up some of those big Camp Coffs hills. Yeah, so that's about all with the motor. Like, I can go on forever on that motor, but
yep,
that's a basic overview.
Did cover this in the magazine quite a few years ago. It said it's going to be a J20 theme. Well, it's going to look very much like a J20, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, so if you had old magazines, as Michael said, you would have seen it and told you more about it. But what actually we got, this is a 4-door chassis with a J20 cab. And then it's standard suspension. I've done a few little tweaks here and there, not much. It's running Dharma 60s front and rear. It's a Chrysler 440 big block, mated to a 4L80 auto overdrive, and then sandwiched in between the transfer case and the autos, another underdrive, the Clune V underdrive. And then there's a 205 transfer case And I've actually got a well back for it. That actually the perfect size. It actually came off 4-door J20s. There was only a few of them. They actually came off the what they call them.
Had them built for the customs.
Yeah, the customs.
Customs department.
Yeah, so I've actually got a little well-back tub that fits on here perfectly. So that's the plan to go on here.
Now this one's been around the traps. Is this the well back you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the well back.
So that's the well back there. It's going to go on the J20 we just looked at. So this J truck here, can we open a door, Tim?
Yeah.
Which side do you reckon?
Probably this.
Just want to show everybody what's in here that's a bit unique.
Yeah. This J20.
I'll come through this side.
Is an early one. This came from Jimmy Sortel, and I think it's a Texas Jeep. As you can see, the steering wheel's on the wrong side.
For us, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. Some of our viewers, they might say it's on the correct side.
That's right.
So the cab's in pretty good condition, isn't it?
Yeah, the cab seems to be rust-free. Yeah, so this is another one of those one-day projects.
Is it going to stay left-hand drive or?
No, it'll go to right-hand drive.
So this cab, right-hand drive.
Yeah, and this is going to eventually be my work truck. So I'm going to put a tipper back on it, just a tray back with a tipper. Probably keep it all AMC 360, just a 400 in it.
And you can't have a Jeep collection without having a J10, and there's actually another one down the paddock. We mightn't get to that today, but we know.
Are you sure it's a J10 or is it a CJ10? I don't know.
That's probably a whole video.
Oh.
J10, CJ10, Aussie J10.
It's in Aussie. Let's call it an Aussie J10.
Here in Australia, there's a bit of a thing going on. And our American viewers will probably think we're crazy. They know they're CJ10s, but to us guys that grew up with these being sold in Australia, they were a J10.
The sticker says J10, doesn't
There's
it?
a badge there, and we know they were brought in as a CJ10, rebadged, blah, blah, blah. But, anyway, it doesn't matter. They're a great vehicle, unique to Australia. So, well, not unique, but most of them are here. So we'll say CJ10, J10, Aussie. I'm hopeless. I'm too old to change much, so I'm just today. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. It's out there. Dead standard. Hopefully Michael will show you inside. It's really nice inside. Unfortunately, it sat down on the coast there for a bit, under a carport. Got a lot of salt air, as you can see. Apart from that, it's really original. When we picked it up, the motor in it was seized. So we sort of, an old bloke, unfortunately his health wasn't good, had a fair bit of CJ stuff, Jeep stuff. I think Mikey actually put us onto it.
I think I dumped myself out of this deal.
Yeah, I think you did.
A long time ago, but...
And he was a cracking bloke, and it wasn't about the money for him. He wanted his Jeep stuff to go to Jeep people, and that was the bottom line. Yeah. And a good mate of mine, Justin Kennedy, and we went down, we were lucky enough to go down there, and so we took, well, we didn't take it, we paid for it, but it was really cheap.
So it was the original engine that was seized, a 258? 258
was seized. He had another four-door wagon, a Sportsman, that had another 258 in it that had been rolled. Funny story about that, you know, everything's got a bit of a story. Some particular ad came out, late 80s, about rolling full drives and that. They actually used the Sportsman for a rollover in an ad for safety. Anyway, he managed to get it. So it had, the motor was nothing wrong, the body was trashed. So we managed to get that as well. And that motor is actually in here now. It runs, I've got plenty of ideas for it. I've managed to get off another good mate, Jeep mate, Warren Lewis, a tub for it. So I've got a tub to go on the back. So my dream is...
You got something out of Warren?
I know, it took a lot of years, and you have to strike when the iron hot. When he said yes, I went straight to his joint and picked it up. And anyway, I managed to get a tub off Warren. So the dream for this is virtually just tidy it up, put a tub on it, and just have as a runner to go to the Jeep events. But inside, when Michael shows you later, it is really tidy inside. It's just a shame about the patina, but they're not rust holes, it's just surface rust, so it'll clean up good. And that's about all I can say.
Every time I see it, I don't know why I passed the contact details on to you, but I missed out on this and the Cherokee. Wasn't there something else I missed out in that deal?
I haven't finished telling the whole story. There was a V8 came. The bloke, when the motor blew in this, he was going to put a 360 in it. And he brought all the right bits. He got a complete rebuilt motor. I think it came from Hammond's, and I've got that sitting hiding over there. And it's cool because it's even got AMC spark plug leads on it. And like, I've never seen those leads anywhere, but so he had a complete motor rebuilt, which we managed to get. He had the horns for the engine mounts, came in the kit. We managed to get, I think, another guard, a couple of front headlight bezels, and another couple of weird things that came with the deal. Wind deflectors for the doors. I've got left and right hand side wind deflectors. Like, I've never seen them anywhere. It came with it.
So I put you and Justin onto that good deal. I don't think it's been repaid, has it?
I'm sure it has.
Okay, it probably has.
I'm sure it has. I'm going to say it has just for my sake, but whatever.
I'm going to grab the video and show everybody inside.
Righto.
Alright, let's take a look in here. As Tim said, it is in good nick inside. Hasn't copped the sunlight.
And the good thing I like about this Jeep, and when you've had quite a few Jeeps, you realise people wreck them with cutting holes and dashes and that. This is fully original. They haven't even opened the stereo hole. Original stereo will go back in there. You know, like, it's not 100% perfect, but the dash is, there's no wires hanging down. They haven't joined stuff in. The paint on the back wall is really good. The seats need new re-trimming, but in general, it's really good for a Jeep for what we find.
The floors are in good nick, Tim?
Yeah, floors are good nick. The door cards are in good nick. Steering wheel is. It's even, which is pretty rare to see, you don't get the cigarette little ashtray they had in the J10s. This is actually, Mike will be able to tell you what model full size it comes out of, but these are in the back seat of a full size.
Yep.
And they just Velcro or screw that on. It's weird, like on a CJ, they have a normal little ashtray that's underneath next to the cigarette lighter, but on these, for some reason, they stuck it up there. But anyway, that's what they did, and it's good to see that. As I said, you hardly ever see that on one.
And some people might know about the 3/4 seat, Tim?
Yeah, the 3/4 seat. So most of ours came with that. I think Lyndon tells me he's the CJ10, J10 expert. They didn't all come with that. I thought they did, because most of the ones I see do. Yeah, but that's the ones I've got. Like, I've got 2 of them, and they've both got that same seat.
No, they definitely, some didn't come with them, and guys wanted them because it's so good for carrying that third person.
Yeah.
A bit more comfortable, especially if it's a smaller child. Or you just look down. I don't think this gets much use with Tim, so we won't worry about that too quick. Just talking about the push bike.
He's a good mate, isn't he?
So we're just going to go quickly this way. So looks like a CJ6 hiding here.
Yeah, this is actually a Willys CJ6, so the Jeep nuts will know that, with the short front clip. It's an unusual one because it's got a solid window in it. No tilt window, which, don't know the history. The Willys guys are about to tell me that. I like it better than the tilt window because I've never tilted a window down in my life. And it's not going to leak like all my other Jeeps. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing. We'll have to wrestle some stuff off. There's a Falcon 6-cylinder cross-flow head in there.
That's all right. I think we'll leave that for another day.
Yeah.
The body's in good condition.
Yeah, the guy actually did a fair bit of work on it. It just really needs, you know, there's a fair bit of work. Yeah. But it's all there. It came with all the bits to finish it. And, you know, he didn't want a lot for it. It's actually sporting the wheels off that blue CJ7.
Okay.
These are the original wheels and tyres off that. And so this came with the wheels and tyres that's on the 7. So that's why it was an easy swap.
So that's a 7 we spoke about in our last video, and there's those wheels.
Yeah.
Good. Now moving on, this is going to get a lot of attention. It's pretty hard to find a CJ8 scrambler these days, and you just happen to have one sitting in the shed here.
Yeah. That's I've had that for a long time. My mate Gary Thompson originally found it, bought it off him, and I managed to put the 360 in it. It's got good gear in that. Unfortunately, the rust won. It's full of rust. Unfortunately, every time I drive it in the bush, the body moves one way and the gear shifter moves another, and I lose gears or gain gears. It's well set up. It's fully locked. Dana 60, Dana 44, AMC 360, 727, 208 transfer case. Used to run 37 tyres. It was a really good truck, but unfortunately, as I said, the rust won.
Yep.
So I've managed to collect another couple of tubs to fix it.
Yep.
And it's just on the one-day project. Good fun to drive, comfortable to drive. It's just a shame that it was full of rust when I brought it.
Yeah.
And I managed to keep it on the road for 5 or so years.
Just get down, people can just see. It's a bit hard to see it where it's packed in, but you can see the rust there. So that's probably a better part, is it? So
Yeah, that's right. The floors are all rust. All the body mounts are just off the head, and it doesn't help. It's running like a 50mm body spacer.
Yeah.
And it just moves, and you're driving up a hill, and all of a sudden you drop into neutral.
Yeah.
It's not much fun.
So is this the tub here that's...
Well, I've got 2 tubs.
Okay.
I haven't decided which one's going where.
Yep.
And that'll all come about. I have visions of restoring, because the scramblers are so rare now.
Yep.
Probably to restoring it back to original and not hot rodding it.
Can we walk right around?
No.
Can't get around there?
Well, you can get around.
I'll just go around to here and see if we can get the front. No, probably not.
No, it's just too much junk.
Right, while I'm over here, I see a lot of tubs up in here. How many is there?
Too many.
1. I shouldn't be doing this.
No, you shouldn't be counting them.
Has your missus seen all these?
Unfortunately, yes, and she reminds me regularly how much junk I've got.
But at least they're out of the weather. They're being saved, whether it's your project or not someone else's project one day.
Yeah,
At least they're out of the weather. They're not at a scrap heap.
No.
Lots of goodies there. Doors, tubs, windscreen frames. Excellent.
Yeah. There's a few ring-ins. There's an early flat fender up there that probably will never happen, but it's just sitting up in the collection. That's got a story too. I've brought and sold that to the same bloke 2 or 3 times. So we keep swapping, changing our minds. So that's been here, left, come back, been.
That happens with a few
Yeah.
Jeeps around the country.
That's right.
A couple of guys just keep buying and selling back to each other.
And there's a bit of other stuff, but it's too hard to see. There's some stuff stashed around in a few other corners, but that's sort of the gist of what I've got.
No, that's great. And so there's plenty there to keep you going. Got a couple of chassis up here. Tub up there somewhere. That's a bit new for you.
That's actually a YJ tub.
Oh, it is a YJ, okay.
Yeah, it's a full YJ. Another funny story. A mate of mine brought that. I got the front clip and the windscreen off it, and then Warren Lewis brought the chassis in the tub. Someone else got the drivetrain out of it, and another thing I managed to get off Warren, the chassis. I managed, after quite a few years of annoying him, I managed to get the chassis off him and the tub off him. So that's another one-day project.
As I said, it's going to be a quick look around the shed, and it was. As you can see, there's lots there to look at if we can dig it out, but that's another time.
Yeah, it's too much effort. Too hot today too.
Too hot. And it's close to lunchtime and cup of tea time. But as I said before, wait, there's more. And there is more up in the paddock that hasn't made it to the shed. Go up and have a look at that next.
Righto, let's go.
So we've made our way up into the paddock, checking out some things up here. Got a J20 here. Editor Big Ben from Jeep Action put this one on to Tim, and he went and picked it up. It's a parts Jeep for Tim at the moment. It does look good when we're looking at here, but you get up close, it's got floors rusted out in it, a lot of rust in it, so worth definitely saving. Tim will use it for parts, bits and pieces, so that's another one. Always got to have a spare Range Rover in your paddock. Can never get enough of them. I don't know what this is.
The Disco.
A Discovery? Okay, should have known that.
It's my $10 special at the tip.
A $10 Discovery saved from the tips. That's got a Porsche sticker. Does that mean it's a Porsche?
Yeah, it's not mine. It's a mate's just
okay.
storing it there.
All right. And hiding over here, you can go first and get the snakes out of it.
Righto.
Here's an old 5-speed Sportsman.
So this was a freebie given to me off my good mate Gary Thompson. It's had a bit of a fire burned underneath. It's a 258 Sportsman, as Michael just said. It's still got the gearbox, all the diffs, transfer case. There's not much you can probably save off it, but for a freebie, there's a few bits and bobs on it. Just looking now, I think the back doors are in half decent nick, so
yep.
I'm going to strip it out one day when I get time, but it's just been sitting up here.
Good. All right, Tim reckons it's too hot out here in the paddock, so we'll head back to the shed.
You're not wrong.
Thanks for taking me up in the paddock.
Well, I wish it wasn't so hot, but anyway, that was good to have you. Thanks for coming.
I'd like to thank Tim for showing us around up the paddock. Wasn't many up there to look at, that was pretty short and sweet, but we had a great look around here. I think you'll all enjoy what we saw in here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like and flick and comment and all that sort of thing. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Mikey. It's great to have you.